So, I have a question for you. Have you ever played Calamity? If you're watching this video, probably yes. And if you're like me, you probably played through the entire game at least once, and have experienced most of the classes. And when you play the game again, it can sometimes just feel empty. Not boring because the game is still a lot of fun, but you can feel like you know the entirety of the game by heart. You know that the first hard mode boss you should fight is Cryogen. You know that if you're playing the Ranger class, you will need these weapons and these accessories before fighting Poltergeist. You know that Supreme Calamitas is the final boss of the game. You know every structure, every good weapon for every class, every boss, every loot, and basically everything that the mod has to offer. So I wanted to make something about this, and create a mod pack adding new content into the game, while still being relatively centered around Calamity. So if you want something new from modded Terraria, well, you're in luck. This is my ultra modded Terraria mod pack. So the last mod pack that I made was to improve the Calamity experience, but not add any content. This time we are doing the complete opposite. This mod pack includes mods that will add a massive amount of content. During the making of this video, the 1.4.4 port of Tmod Loader got released. But this mod pack is only playable in Tmod Loader 1.4.3. And if you don't know how to downgrade the game, go to the Tmod Loader Steam page, click on Options and Properties, Betas, and 1.4.3 Legacy version. And to install the mod pack, click the link in the description, download the file, decompress it, and inside of Tmod Loader, click on Modpack, open Modpack folder, place the mod pack, install the mods, and load them up. Now let me explain more about the mod pack itself. The aim of this mod pack is to kind of recreate the feeling that you can get when first playing Calamity, that you can lose after playing through Calamity a couple of times. With this mod pack, regular Calamity guides are useless. It's completely up to you to decide which weapon, accessories, armor you're gonna use against the several new bosses. So this video is gonna be divided in two parts. In the first place, I'm gonna be talking about the content mods included in the mod pack, and give a brief description of them. Then we're gonna quickly go over some small quality of life mods and tweak mods that are added. So obviously the main mod of this mod pack is Calamity mod. And you shouldn't play this mod pack if you haven't played Calamity at least once. But we will add alongside it several other Calamity add-ons and Calamity related mods. First we will install the Calamity mod music, to hear the custom tracks for biomes and bosses. The first real add-on that we will install is the Calamity Infernum mod. It adds the infamous Infernum difficulty, which reworks every boss with some new and unique attack patterns, but also adds some new structures, some new endgame weapons, and a sub-dimension with the new boss. Be aware though that you need a good PC to run this mod and play the Infernum difficulty, because the bosses use a lot of resource-heavy effects that can slow the game down. The last Calamity add-on we will add is Catalyst mod. This mod adds a new boss, the Astral Mageddon, an Astral Slime themed boss, alongside some new unique weapons drops and a new Astral Furniture set. And the last update from this mod merged unofficial Calamity Flamethrower and Whips, and also reworks them, so you get much more weapon choices for those who like to play with these kinds of weapons. And now we're done with the Calamity mods, and we can start to go over the other content mods. We will install another extremely popular mod, the Fargo Soul mod. So I think everyone knows this mod at least from the name, but not many people actually played it. So let me describe it a little. The mod adds content all over the place, like Calamity. Contain a boss progression going from pre-hard mode to post-moon load, with the last boss being the Mutant, being the true final boss of this mod pack, even after Supreme Calamitas. But this mod also takes farming to a whole new level, with a type of accessories called enchantments. By combining some items, often armors or weapons, you can craft an enchantment to have a special effect. Then you can combine multiple enchantments to make a force. Then by having all of the forces, which is no easy task, you can begin to make souls. And by combining every soul, you can craft the soul of eternity. But the crafting requires some items blocked under the custom difficulty added by the mod, the Eternity mod. But unfortunately it is not intended to be used with any of the Calamity difficulties, so it's up to you to make the choice. But if you want to know, the difficulty reworks all vanilla bosses and also drops some special loots. And alongside Fargo, we will add its own music mod, Fargo's music mod, to hear some custom tracks for bosses. And now we continue with two pretty big content mods. The first one being the Vitality mod. This mod is mainly focused on adding new ores, weapons, accessories, armors, and bosses. This mod adds a lot of bosses, but obviously since it's a less known mod, the bosses aren't gonna be groundbreaking like with Calamity, but it's still cool to discover some new bosses. The weapons can also be pretty simple and not as complex to some weapons from Calamity. But it's actually one of my favorite mods from the bunch, because with this mod you always feel like you're discovering something new, whether it's a new ore or weapon that you can craft. And this mod also adds some new enemies, so to me, even if it doesn't include any new fancy biomes or anything, it's still a great mod to add to the mod pack. And a pretty similar mod to the Vitality mod is the Aetherius mod. Like the Vitality mod, this mod adds a shit ton of weapons, armors, new ores, tools, and of course bosses. And now when I say that there is a lot of weapons, there is a lot of weapons. Some of them can be pretty questionable, and some of the sprites can be sometimes a bit ugly, but we don't care. Of course you're not gonna craft all of the weapons, it's up to you by using the tools given to you, which we will cover later in the video, to decide what you want to craft. This mod also introduces a mechanic called runes. If you look at your accessory slots, you will see a new one, where you're not able to place any regular accessories. You can craft runes, which give special effects and boosts just like normal accessories. You can start by crafting an empty rune with some tin or copper, and then by using some really easy to obtain materials, you can turn the empty rune to one of the 7 different runes. Rune of Envy, Gluttony, Greed, Lust, Pride, Sloth or Wrath, which all give some different effects to the player. This will be your tier 1 rune, but throughout the game you will be able to upgrade those runes until the final tier, the tier 6 runes, crafted with Luminite, and the final goal being to combine all of the tier 6 runes to obtain the rune of the 7 sins. Overall, this mod is really interesting to add alongside another bigger content mod like Calamity, like we're doing now. But with these two mods, they mostly stop adding some content after the post-moonload stage of the game. So after fighting him, you will have to mainly rely on some Calamity and Fargo Soul weapons. But wait! We are not finished with the content mods. The next two mods will focus on improving certain classes. The first mod is Mumu's Ultimate Yo-Yo Revamp, which focuses on improving the yo-yo subclass. It introduces a lot of new yo-yos, but also some new accessories related to yo-yo, like the drills accessories, that allows the yo-yo to dig through tiles, or a lot of new ring accessories to give the yo-yo some new effects. But it also reworks some of the existing yo-yos, to make them way more interesting with sometimes some new unique effects. The other mod is called Archery Overall, which adds a huge number of new bows for you to discover, alongside some new ranger related items, but also some pretty unique items like a new boot progression, with the last boot giving the player tremendous speed. And now we are done with the major content mods, so it's time to talk about the smaller mods that combined together really make the experience that much better. Let's first talk about two building mods. Yes, I know most of you will trap your NPCs in prison, but for the two people that actually decorate their builds, I included in the mod pack Peter's Building mod, that allows you to craft and place the decorations that you come across in the world and that you can't normally pick up. And secondly, I added Terra Architect, that adds some really unique and interesting decorations to spice up your builds, if you actually build, of course. The next few mods we will talk about will focus on realism and graphical changes. The first and most popular mod of the bunch is Lights and Shadow, which adds those beautiful shader-like effects during the day and the night. It can also be configured and customized in a mod configuration. The next mod is Terraria Ambience, which adds some ambience effects in different scenarios in the game. For example, you will hear some bird during the day, some echo when you are underground, or muffled sound when you are underwater. Better blending will make the tiles blend better together to avoid some of the awkward blending between tiles. And I lastly want to talk about the resource pack that I have been using throughout the video. First is the Calamity texture pack, which will spread most of the tiles and items in the game to make them, in my opinion, look way more unique. Then, to have the darkened UI, I'm using the Storm Dark UI pack, which will darken every UI element in the game, even most of the modded custom UI like the recipe browser menu. Lastly, I'm using the custom font Popjoy pack to change my font, which is by the way used in most Paper Mario. So with this resource pack, you can turn Terraria into the ultimate Paper Mario game. So if you want to download this resource pack, you will have to download them from the Terraria workshop and not the Tmod Loader workshop. And now we get into the minor tweaks mods. If you watch my last modpack video, you will probably recognize a lot of the presented mods, but some new mods are also getting introduced. So let's go over some of them quickly. Biome Tiles is a simple mod that will display on the screen the biome in which you are and when you enter it, and it's also compatible with Calamity biomes. DPS Extreme is a mod that will display some informations about the damage that you dealt after a boss fight, which can be useful if you are playing on multiplayer. Improved movement visual will make the player lean when walking and also look at the direction of the cursor. Dialogue Panel Rework reworks the UI when you are talking to an NPC, to look like the way it looks in the mobile version of Terraria, which to me looks way better. Better Zoom will allow you to exceed the normal limitation of Terraria Zoom. It can be useful mode if you want to look at your player from real close. Wing Time UI will add this little bar that pops up when you are in the air so that you can see how much wing time you have left. HP Awareness is a mod that adds multiple signals to your screen related to the state of your health. It will show when you take damage and even flash red when you have low HP. It can also play a sound when your healing potion is ready. Summoner UI will add those two icons below your health to indicate how much summons and sentry you can use. Acus Shop Quotes will add little funny quotes to the items sold by NPCs. Nothing groundbreaking, but it adds some life to the NPCs. Compare Item Stat is a mod that allows you to compare the properties of two weapons or armor by holding left shift when you are already holding another weapon. Melee FX Plus is a mod that adds this cool slashing animation to every melee weapons. I know that this mod can break some Calamity weapons like the Biome Blade, but without this mod some melee weapons were even more broken. Color Damage Type is a mod that will change the color of the damage that you deal depending on your class. Armaments Display is a mod that will display the weapons that you are holding on your back, but also this effect from every dropped items. And lastly, taller trees will make the trees taller. And our last category of mods will be quality of life mods, which are in this mod pack really important. To begin, Alchemist NPC Lite is a mod that will add 7 new useful NPCs like the Brewer that will sell you vanilla and modded potions, or the Architect that will sell you building materials. It's a really useful mod if you don't want to farm some of the materials like wood and stone. Then we have our two favorite cheat mods, Heroes Mod and Cheat Sheet. They both add these menus like the Item Browser, NPC Spawner, Time Changer, Map Reveal and much more. Recipe Browser is probably the most useful quality of life mod from the bunch. You first need to set up a keybind in the settings, and by hitting the key you set up, you open this menu where you can see every crafting recipe, and you can search the name of an item to see its recipe. It's absolutely essential for us to see how to craft modded objects like the runes from the Arthurius mod, for example. Another really useful mod is Boss Checklist. It adds this button to see the list of every boss in the mod pack from pre-hard mode to post-moon load. And by clicking on the boss, you can see how to summon it and the loot that you can obtain, which is really useful for the bosses from Vitality mod and Arthurius mod. No Pylons Restriction is a mod that removes every restriction when using pylons, so you can buy multiple of them without needing NPC happiness, and you can teleport to them from anywhere in the map. And if you feel like it's too much, you can also disable some of the features of the mod, so it's perfect for you. Point Shop is a mod that has this button at the top of your screen that can open this shop with items that you can buy from each biome in the game, with points. Points that you can earn from beating enemies from these biomes. This mod also follows progression, having certain items blocked before beating certain progression bosses like Skeletron or the Wall of Flesh. Then magic storage is an absolutely essential mod for us, adding some items that if you place together will create a storage system. The system is being operated by a storage heart. Then by placing storage containers, you can begin to store items into the system. The storage containers can also be upgraded throughout the game to leave you more space for your items. And there is also some other features like being able to craft items from your storage system or access it from anywhere in the world. And now we get into the three big guys of the quality of life section of this mod pack, with Low AFK, quality of life and Fargo mutant mod. Now I've talked about Low AFK and quality of life in great details in this video, but let me talk about them quickly. These two mods add some features to make the game less grindy, like having infinite version of potions, multiple different wands to help you with repetitive tasks like building houses with the wand of architecture from quality of life, or the prison builder from Low AFK, but also having infinite version of potions, infinite version of ammunition, and pretty much having an infinite version of everything. There is also a lot of little features to make your life easier, which also can be toggled on and off in the mod configuration, and even some presets if you prefer having a more balanced experience by toggling off most of the cheaty features of the mod. Now for the last mod of this mod pack, we have Fargo Mutant mod, which adds some little quality of life features like the two other mods, but most notably add the mutant NPC, which sells the boss summons for every boss, including boss summons for modded boss, but also add some similar items to Low AFK for infinite versions of items. And with all of this said, we are pretty much done for the explanation of the mods. The last few mods of the mod pack are just dependencies for other mods. Now a bit of a warning. If you want to play this mod pack, you will most likely encounter some crashes when loading the mods. Don't worry, it's normal. If you encounter some crashes, just relaunch the game a couple of times and you should be good to go. And if you still get errors and crashes, come to my Discord so that we can talk about it and try to make the mod pack work. With that said, I hope you will enjoy playing the mod pack. See you soon.